Welcome to the Thurston County Commissioners budget process discussion, Monday, December 7th, 2020. It's 11 o'clock and this is supposed to last about 1 hour. I'm John Hutchings, the chair of the board. Also present is Vice Chair Commissioner Ty Menser, Commissioner Gary Edwards, County Manager Ramiro Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Elizabeth Petrich. Do we have the clerk of the board on with us?
Yes, he's joined us via
Okay.
telephone.
So we have Amy Davis, the clerk of the board. And this discussion is regarding, like I said, the budget process. So this is going to be an executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, subsection 1I, to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in adverse legal or financial consequences to the agency budgeting process. Commissioner's action may follow. Thank you. So we're going into executive session.
Thank you, sir. Let me flip the sign.
Elizabeth, go ahead.
I think you want to clarify that the executive session is a result of potential litigation. I'm not sure if you said that potential litigation part.
Official capacity become to result in adverse legal or financial consequences or potential litigation.
Yeah, he did outline that on the RCW.
I have a question of legal counsel before we go into executive session, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm gun shy. I'll be real upfront about it. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I am nervous, and I'm concerned that we aren't given the public proper notice about the meeting, let alone the executive session. I just want some assurances that we're covering our bases properly.
Yes, Commissioner. Under your county code, you have regularly scheduled meetings Monday through Friday. So you can meet anytime during those times in the code, and we're within that window. The only, the one thing we have not been able to do, but it's not, it does not prevent you from going forward to have a meeting, is that an agenda was not published 24 hours prior to this meeting this morning. So the one, and then the statute also provides if the agenda is not published 24 hours ahead of time, that does not negate any action taken by the board during that meeting. So you can legally meet right now, but just to be fully open with everybody, that the agenda was not published 24 hours ahead of time. And again, by statute, you can still meet.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it, but I'll turn to my Ty. Do you have any comments?
So the agenda, the 24-hour agenda posting is just a courtesy to the public? It doesn't?
It's a statutory requirement. And that same statutory requirement recognizes that sometimes agendas don't get published 24 hours ahead of time, and that it doesn't void the actions taken during the meeting. As long as you're holding regularly, you're in a proper meeting time. So there's two requirements: that you're meeting at a proper meeting time, and by county code, the county commissioners can meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, between 8 and 5. So you are in a proper meeting time. The only thing that is lacking is the agenda for this particular meeting. The agenda is a budget process.
Is there any particular penalty that goes along with this? Or I'll fall back on Commissioner Menser's question.
Well, I want to make sure.
Is it just a courtesy?
Ty's question is answered completely, though. Go ahead, Ty. Did you have more? Is that
I'm
answer?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Go ahead, Gary.
I just want to follow up on Commissioner Mentzer's question. I mean, he made it sound pretty simple. It's either a requirement or not. What's the penalty if you don't follow the law? And you're saying that it does not negate action, okay? But I don't know, do they take half your paycheck away or suspend you or something? What do they do?
But if you had an illegal meeting, the action would be voided. Whatever action you took during the meeting would be voided. And potentially each of the commissioners could be fined. I think it's $125. What I'm doing as I'm speaking is I want to pull up the precise language of the statute, just so you can understand what so there can be two truths. Yes, you can have a meeting even if you don't post the agenda, but I just want to find the statute and the statutory language for you, and then we can go from there. If you could just give me a minute here.
Now, we don't use the elevator, we can use the stairs.
Where's that noise coming from?
Yeah, we're closing the
Hallway.
door, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the statute is so the statute is 42.30.077, and this is a section in the Open Public Meetings Act.
Could you repeat that number, please, Elizabeth?
Sure. EW 42.30.077, and it speaks to agendas of regular meetings online availability. And it says that we must make an agenda of the meeting available online 24 hours in advance of the meeting. And then it goes on to say, nothing in this section prohibits nor invalidates any otherwise legal action taken at a meeting where the agenda was not posted in accordance with this section. So that's the statute I'm relying on. So it says, yes, you post, and then it also says nothing in this section prohibits legal action taken at a meeting where the agenda was not posted.
And Elizabeth, that said regular meetings. Does that include executive sessions?
So what we're doing is we are currently speaking in a regular meeting time.
Correct. Okay.
And so you have to have a meeting to go into an executive session.
Okay.
Prerequisite for an executive session is that you meet any requirements for an executive session. And in this case, the element that we're meeting is that we're discussing potential litigation.
Yeah, and this conversation is live streamed.
Right. So you're comfortable, Elizabeth, with us going into an executive session then without having an agenda been published 24 hours in advance?
Yes.
Okay. Gary?
Well, I don't know why they have the law that says you have to. That's my question. But if Elizabeth is going to say that we can go into an executive session and there's no penalty, I'm just going to refer, the reason I'm so nervous is there was a county commissioner in Stevens County. Matter of fact, there were all 3 commissioners removed for something probably not related to what we're talking about, but they were removed because they did something illegal. I don't know what can be brought against a sitting elected official. That is why I am very concerned about this. That's all.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and you're right about the Stevens County commissioners have nothing to do with this issue, but due caution is always good to have.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Romero.
yeah, and also I believe that if any commissioners, as long as we have a quorum, who doesn't feel comfortable in participating in these conversations, they can recuse themselves. And if they don't feel comfortable in the context of any meetings. So
Right.
that's always an option to each individual commissioner.
And I was going there next. Ty, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. So I'm ready to move into an executive session then.
You already announced that, the RCW. So I will
But
go ahead and announce for you on the hallway.
But I'm for the record, I'm staying. Commissioner Mentor and Edwards, will you speak for yourselves?
One other detail, Commissioner Hutchins, I don't recall that you said the length of the time of the executive session.
Oh, I don't think I did. It's expected to last about 1 hour.
I would say 30 minutes, Matt.
Okay. Before Romero goes out, and I want to know one other thing: who is ultimately responsible if we were deemed participating in an illegal meeting by going ahead with this meeting? Can I refer back to the prosecuting attorney that said, no, this is all okay? Is that something that gives me some type of coverage, if you will? Because we are being closely scrutinized, and I don't need any extra scrutiny. I bring enough on myself.
I would think that'd be your.
So does the prosecuting attorney give us that authority to go ahead and says everything is okay?
What I am doing is giving you legal advice that you can go into the meeting.
But you
Now,
can what?
I am giving you legal advice that you have met the legal requirements to have this meeting. If anyone, now here's another point for you to be aware of, because this is what happens to people, to elected officials. If somebody doesn't like what you're doing or thinks that you're doing something illegal, they can do a recall petition. But a defense against the recall petition is that you followed legal advice.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to use another example then. Depending on which judge you happen to draw to hear your recall petition brought against somebody, I'll use the sheriff as an example. Almost every law enforcement entity around the state said they weren't going to be enforcing the governor's edicts. They were going to be educating the public. But yet we had an activist judge here that heard that case and said, oh no, the sheriff is obligated, no discretion. The recall can go forward. I believe we had something similar with another member, and the judge said, no, that's crazy. That's not going to go forward. So I'm kind of in a quandary here. I like to see good, fair treatment with everybody, and I believe that we should always do the right thing. That is my concern. Not the right thing at the right time, but always the right thing. And that is why I'm being such a stickler about this.
Perhaps you'd like to recuse yourself from this executive session.
I very well might do that.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask my seatmates to do the right thing as well, because I'm not sure why we can't talk about this in a public meeting. Anything that's going to be said here today, I don't want to hide it from anybody. And if there's a monetary issue that the county might be up against, I'd like to be advised of that. If it's a process issue that just you're not going to be able to utilize this or that because of a legal challenge, that's different. I don't want the county to be in a situation where they're going to be, we got a tight enough budget as it is without having to pay out an untold amount of money. to someone in the future. So
Okay,
That's
so
right.
we're,
So the reason
hang
for,
on, Romero, hang on. Ty, go ahead.
It sounded like that you just morphed into the issue about whether we can be in executive session or not, which is not, as I understand it, the problem. The problem is whether we can have a meeting at all, which we're having a meeting. So we've already violated that because we're sitting here having a meeting. I think the right thing, when it comes to doing the right thing is to make sure we do the right thing. And if we can't talk about what the whole point of this executive session, as I understand, is to try to hash out and do the right thing. So I just want to be clear, if we go forward, it's in an effort to try to do the right thing and follow the law. If the law creates a roadblock where we can't even talk about how to comply with the law because the law precludes us from having that conversation, that seems to be pretty ridiculous, which is why I am relying on Elizabeth's interpretation, because it's a sensible one based on the necessity of government moving forward and doing the right thing. I would, we're just going to be chasing our tail if we interpret things the way that, in the opposite way.
Well,
Romero?
this is a practice that we have exercised in the past when you face potential litigation. The board has gotten into an executive session for you to hear the details of that potential litigation. We have not gone in a different direction on this. You received an email from a citizen this morning, or yesterday, I believe, which threatened litigation. And that is the purpose as to why I scheduled this executive session, because it's related to the public hearings this afternoon.
And so each of us can decide what is right, wrong, ethical, unethical, scary, not scary. We can decide that for ourselves. So I'm deciding to stay and go into an executive session. I just need to hear from the other commissioners and let us do it. We're 22 minutes into this. And I'm not in a hurry, but
okay. Well,
I'd like to hear from
I
my
have till
seatmates.
12. I have another meeting at 12, so I am in somewhat of a hurry. We haven't even started addressing the issue at hand.
my concern is, okay.
Who's gonna sit in? Who's leaving? If
My
anybody.
concern is that I have nothing to say that I wouldn't say in front of anybody. And that's why
Okay.
I'm against these secret meetings.
It's
I
Okay.
just don't understand it. So,
It's not
Are
a
you
secret
recusing
meeting.
yourself then?
Yeah.
yes, I'm probably going to recuse myself from it.
Okay. And tie you in?
Yeah.
Okay. So let the record reflect that Commissioner Edwards is leaving just prior to the executive session.
And
Thank you, sir.
the record reflects that we have a quorum. Can you repeat the RCW commissioner again and the stated time, just to make sure?
Yep. And this executive session is pursuant to RCW 42.30.110 subsection 1 subsection I, and the time is now 11:23 hours, and we're expected to last about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.